On Saturday morning, the Israeli delegation to the African Union summit was expelled from the opening ceremony in Addis Ababa. Videos emerged of security guards approaching the delegation led by Sharon Barley and demanding them to leave. The Israeli foreign ministry spokesperson said that Israel is taking the incident seriously. But why is this happening and why now? Let's try to understand more with the Palestine Chronicle editor-in-chief, Dr. Ramzy Baroud.
Well, this is why. Africa has been a contested space for such a long time. And sadly, Palestinians, because they don't have the needed geopolitical tools, have been losing to Israel, which has been winning new friends through normalization, diplomatic ties, and exchange of visits, where Netanyahu been to Africa for the first time in 2017. He made so many new allies, and it seemed that the fight was being lost for Palestinians. Until this happened, countries like Algeria and South Africa and others stood up and they said, no, there is a limit to how far we can normalize with Israel. Maybe some African countries are doing this individually, but it doesn't mean that Israel is now an African country. Did we forget about the history of colonialism, the ongoing military occupation of Palestine, and the Israeli apartheid? Haven't we Africans suffered enough from this? Why are we bringing an apartheid state and welcoming it as a friend? Israel was relentless. It remained committed to its Africa project. It even changed the language. It started presenting itself as an anti-colonial entity, and that Palestinians are actually the invaders of their own land. Can you believe that? If Israeli geopolitical analysts were very smart, they would have understood that Russia is now in a powerful position in Africa. Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Moscow, was in Africa repeatedly in recent months, and African leaders back and forth between Moscow and their African capitals, talking about deepening the geopolitical and economic and social and whatever ties between the continent and Russia. That is paying dividends. But you would say, but hold on. Why would Russia make it a top priority to ostracize Israel in Africa? Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen was just visiting Ukraine. He told the Ukrainians, we are completely on your side. So basically, we're going to play that geopolitical game according to NATO and the West and the American script. The Russians didn't like that. So my analysis is this. What actually happened at the African summit was not a result of what Israel blamed on Algeria and South Africa on the behest of Iran. No, it was Russia making a very, very smart and bold geopolitical move, sending a message to Israel and to Washington and the West that I am the foreign entity with the greater influence over African countries, and it's working. So when the Israelis were told, get out of here, it was a Russian message to all of these entities that if you are going to side with Kiev against us in this war, then we are going to flex our geopolitical muscles in Africa and elsewhere. The question is, will the Israelis retaliate, and how? Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that Africa doesn't have the political will or consciousness of awareness of itself as a continent to take principled positions. But this new power that we are seeing right now, talking in a certain new, confident way to America, the West, and now Israel, is itself an outcome of the massively changing geopolitical boundaries in Africa and around the world. They just needed the kind of backing from Moscow and other entities to tell them, you are among friends and you can take that position without being scared of military coups or American sanctions or Western intervention. That's what it's all about. So let's pay very close attention to what's happening in Africa, because I think that the war in Africa at the moment is the next biggest geopolitical conflict that's happening outside of Eastern Europe.